At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers at Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club and is also proud to be the major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Good evening and welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. It is indeed episode 94, and although it may have been a catch-up round over the weekend, we had plenty of local football action to entertain us and to keep us entertained. My name is Tonchi Prusak. Good evening to you all, and good evening, Steve Curtin. How are you tonight?
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Tonchi. Had a nice weekend, a nice sunny Monday. That always helps boost the spirits. You can feel the days getting longer. I feel like I say these things every week, but we're just trying to keep a bit of positivity. Had a great weekend. Saw the great man Santino Mamone at the Cattery on Saturday night. Good to see him, and good to see he's in the comments already. He's getting pretty excited, isn't he? But yeah, we've got a big show coming up. Don't be fooled by the catch-up round or the catch-up with your mates round, as I often end up calling it. It is still plenty of football and plenty of good action that's going on across the weekend, and a lot to preview. Looking forward to next week, as well as some exciting guests tonight. But Tonchi, how are you travelling tonight?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. It has been a very, very busy weekend, and that is going to be the case for the next couple of weeks, and then things are just going to go as soon as the season finishes. Some people are looking forward to it. Some people, like myself, are absolutely dreading it. I got a little bit of taste of what awaits me over the spring months or spring period, if you like, because I was out at Geelong on Saturday evening, 6 p.m, and because there was no game during the day, it was a case of, me and the wife and the kids go out and do a little bit of shopping, so I know what awaits me. Yes, that's spring cleaning and all of that retail therapy. Oh, when is the 2023 season going to get underway? The sooner the better. But in the meantime, we've got some fantastic news, Steve. As of tonight, as of this episode, our new major season sponsor for the rest of this year kicks in. A big shout out to Barry Plant Geelong. They've got two fantastic offices, a sales office and a property management office. One in Jeringhap Street. There you can see that on the screen, and the other one in Ryrie Street, literally just around the corner. Barry Plant, they are, thanks to Barry Plant Geelong, they are sponsoring the remaining 8 episodes of the Geelong Region Soccer Show for season 2022. So we will be going all the way through to early October. Thank you very much to Barry Plant. So if you do need any real estate needs, if you're selling, buying, renting, or looking to invest even, they are the people to talk to. A big shout out to Robert Cools, or Coolish, heavily involved with Corio Soccer Club and Geelong Soccer Club, both as a past player. He was also a past player at North Geelong as well. And he's been heavily involved as a sponsor at those 2 respective clubs. And so, we will, in weeks to come, have both Geelong Soccer Club and Corio Soccer Club featured as clubs in focus. But until then, Steve, let's talk about our guests for tonight. Big show. And it's going to be take 2 for one particular youngster who we had problems getting last week.
Yeah, it was a disappointing situation last week for both us and OSCAR TANIC and his friends who were all tuning in as well, because I could see that he had some good things to say to us in the interview that never happened, the phantom interview. But don't worry, it's going to happen tonight. We're going to speak to the young 15-year-old Melbourne Victory young gun, formerly of the Geelong Soccer Club, OSCAR TANIC. Looking forward to that. Definitely after the false start last week. But also, not only that, we've also got Luke Maher, who's the programs coordinator with Leisure Networks, looks after All Abilities Football and Frame Football, 2 fantastic football initiatives that give a lot of enjoyment and fulfillment to people who want to be involved in sport. And looking forward to finding more out about that with Luke a little later on, Tonchi.
That's why I love football. Call it soccer, call it football, call it the world game, and it is, without a doubt, the best sport. It's the most popular sport around the world, and why? It's simple rules, apart from the offside rule, of course, but it's simple rules, and its simple nature means that you get a ball, and you don't even need goals. You just get 2 jumpers on either end, and you can play. It's simple. Kick the ball through the goals, okay? And tonight. Yeah, and tonight we will see in its entire beauty why everyone can play it, and it doesn't matter what level you're at, male, female, young, old. If you're in a wheelchair, if you've got a frame, if you're blind, if you're deaf, anyone can play it. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, and that's why soccer, football, call it what you will, is for me the best sport in the world. We'd love to hear from you folks. What'd you get up to on the weekend if your team wasn't playing? How did you spend your weekend off? What did you do? I guess, yes, maybe locally there wasn't much to talk about, but the EPL is back on. The A-League, before you know it, will be around the corner. The World Cup's coming up later this year. And also there's a fair bit of futsal action happening as well, which we'll probably talk about in the coming weeks, because there's a fair bit going on around that that particular program or that particular sphere. But, mate, we're going to take a very, very quick break. When we return, it's the roundup, the weekend roundup, and we'll start all the way from NPL all the way down to State League, and we'll start looking at some of the crucial games coming up this weekend. Folks, don't go away. It's episode 94 of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Back to the Geelong Region. Now, before we go on, talk about, I guess, NPL 3 or the games that we held. Let's have a quick look, Steve, at NPL 2. So if we have a quick look at the ladder there for NPL 2 and the games coming up this weekend. As far as North Geelong is concerned, mate, this weekend they could book their spot in next year's NPL Victoria competition. How good would that be? What's happening this weekend for North Geelong?
Yeah, they've got a big match coming up this weekend, and they can certainly get a good result here, and they'll be there. So they're playing the Bulleen Lions. They are situated in 5th place. That's on home turf at Elko Park at the traditional 3 o'clock kickoff time. So I would imagine there'll be a very healthy pro North Geelong Warriors crowd at this match, because there's a lot at stake, and there could be some big celebrations around 5 p.m. on Saturday.
Yeah. I think this is the match of the season. They've been struggling lately. A very young side, feeling the pressure. They've had a week off. Maybe that might do them good. Maybe that might not. But Steve, what else is happening in this particular division? I think this Friday night, in fact, Moreland City taking on Pascoe Vale. 2nd versus 3rd. And look, if Moreland City was to draw and Pascoe Vale draw, I think what you could find is a win on Saturday will not only clinch North Geelong a promotion spot, but they'll also clinch the championship as well. So, mate, this is going to be huge. It's going to be a massive, massive. The other thing is Bulleen, they play on a synthetic pitch. So they're used to the ball having, an even roll. Elko Park lately has been very, very bumpy. And last time round, Stuart Begg said it was a real leveller. Well, the thing is, they know how to play that. Warriors do know how to play a bumpy pitch now. And Bulleen doesn't. So that could work in North Geelong's favour as well. So that's at 3 p.m. A huge, huge game. Now let's talk about NPL 3. We've got some highlights there of the game that was held on the weekend against Springvale White Eagles. Now, I went out to this game thinking it was going to be raining. I had my umbrella there ready. I had my
they got the forecast wrong, didn't they?
They did, thankfully.
It was a dry night in the end.
Yeah, now as Perry Muir was the referee, the veteran referee who's been around, out and about. Yeah. Oh, geez, he loves a bit of a Barney with some of the plays. He loves really giving it to him. But as soon as he blew the final whistle, I was out in the middle of the pitch talking to Jake Butler, getting a quote from him. And the heavens just sort of started opening up and it was drizzling. And so it was just perfect timing. But look, a one-sided contest. Geelong were absolutely fantastic. Marvin Bray-Wheeler, the German import, he was incredible. He was the tall number 2 up front. He was just the man of the match. He scored 2 goals. There was another goal scorer, Tomohito Fujiero, whatever his name is, number 4. He was brilliant. He was also brilliant. Did very, very well. And young Anthony Trajkovski came on later in the second half, and he also scored a goal. There was about 4 or 5 substitutions made in the second half, but it was a very, very one-sided contest. To be honest, I think there's only one team that really wanted to be out there, and that was they're the goal scorers there, Marvin Bray-Wheeler to Tomohito Fujieda and Anthony Trajkovski. There's only really one team that wanted to be out there, which is quite surprising, mate, because Springvale White Eagles, they're staring relegation squarely in the face, and, you would have thought that they would have put up a little bit more of a fight. They didn't. Look, I think things aren't looking too well for them. If we look at the ladder there, Geelong moves up to a respectable mid-table position. I think they should be 7th, not 9th. They've jumped up from 9th to 7th. So it's a respectable position. And look, when the pressure was off, the shackles of relegation they were released from, they played quite smoothly. They played quite free-flowing football. And as we saw in the papers today, Jake Butler did lament that, it took almost the entire season for them to play the type of football that they wanted to play, that he wanted them to play. But look, all in all, great result there for Geelong. Who are they coming up against?
Melbourne Victory this
here we go.
Saturday. It's at home. It's at 6 o'clock at Stead Park. Melbourne Victory, they're looking to get into one of those positions where they can have a playoff to get into NPL 2. So they're going to come out. They've got a lot to play for, the young Melbourne Victory starlets. So, certainly get along to that game if you're a Geelong fan, if you're a Victory fan even. And I think that'll be a pretty good occasion there this Saturday at 6 o'clock at Stead Park.
Yeah. Now let's move along to the other games that were played, or the only other game that was played on Saturday involving a Geelong team. State League 4, it was Surf Coast coming up against the top side West Side Strikers.
Yeah, it was an important game for the point of view of West Side Strikers. There, they were chasing promotion in this game, and they got the 2-0 win over Surf Coast on their home deck there. That sees them there. They're on 53 points, so they're going up. They're going up to State League 3 next season. So congratulations to them. I think Rob Nader wasn't too disappointed with the application that Surf Coast put in, but against a league leading side, it ended up just falling a bit short and not quite enough. So the Surf Coast will look ahead to next week, where they're going to be playing Greenvale United. We've also got Bell Park there travelling to West Side Strikers. So maybe they'll be celebrating their success, West Side, and Bell Park can surprise them if they've got a bit of a hangover. Golden Plains travelling to Truganina Hornets at Arndale Park Reserve on Saturday evening, 7 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, it's a bit of a late one, isn't it? Yeah,
it is.
So really nothing more to play for the Geelong sides there in state. State will bring the ladder up again. Actually, as I'm looking at that, mathematically, Keilor Wolves could still defeat the West Side Strikers. So if Bell Park was to beat West Side Strikers and Keilor Wolves won, they did lose on the weekend, by the way, Keilor Wolves. They'd be 1 point behind the Strikers, and then it could come down to what happens in the very last game of the season. But look, I wouldn't read too much into that. I think West Side Strikers will clearly get over the line in this one. So Surf Coast, Bell Park, and Golden Plains all safe. They'll be in State League 4 next year. We could have another team from the Geelong region up there. Let's look at State League 5. Barwon at the moment on top, magnificent goal difference, and that's going to come. That's going to be very, very important come season's end.
Yeah, that's the difference right now, isn't it?
Absolutely. They've got. Look, this is crucial. The equation is simple, Steve. 2 games to go. Barwon needs to win both games. Can't afford to draw. Can't afford to lose. They got to win both games. Now, this week, I think they're coming up against...
you got Ballarat away this week.
Ballarat away. Ooh,
but Lara United could do Barwon a favour, because Lara is going to play the Melton Phoenix this Saturday afternoon. So perhaps Barwon will be hoping that Lara can do them a solid there and maybe get a point at Melton Phoenix.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, that's gonna be interesting. Lara United, in a sense, haven't got anything to play for at the moment. There's no chance of them getting promoted, relegated, or anything like that. They're sort of mid-table. Actually, there's no relegation in State 5. What am I talking about? But they could make things really, really interesting, couldn't they? Should they try and beat, if they were to beat Melton Phoenix pretty much,
or even a draw.
Barwon was to, even a draw. Or even a draw, yeah.
Yes.
Because if Barwon could beat Ballarat, I think they've got Maidstone United in the last home game of the season. If I may stand corrected, but I think that's the case.
If that is
Maidstone United, who are in 9th position,
and Melton Phoenix have got Maribyrnong Greens in that round 22 match, so that's probably a laydown misere that Melton's going to get a convincing win in that game. So So let's see going into that final round.
Yeah, so look, like I said, the equation is very simple. Melton Phoenix, Barwon needs to win 2 wins from 2 games. Simple as that. No ifs or buts. They just basically have to do that. Mate, let's go back up to State 1. Let's just have a look at the ladder there. This is a very, very interesting competition. Now, I guess Corio safe, so they're going to avoid relegation, which is a pretty darn good effort, isn't it? I mean, they kind of were at one stage looking like they were going to be relegation fodder, but they've had a very, very good second half of the season. They're quite safe. They find themselves in really, really good. They can now start to blood a few youngsters. They can maybe experiment a little come next season, see what needs to be done. But Strathmore, they've got a big game. They've come up against Sydenham Park, and I'm told that game is going to be played next week. They take on Clifton Hill in a major game this weekend. So the winner of that effectively is the side that is going to escape relegation. If they draw well, then it's going to be even more interesting. It'll come down to goal difference, no doubt. But look, that doesn't affect Corio. Like we said, apart from Corio's got now 2 more games where they can just experiment with some of their younger players. They can play players in different positions, etc., etc. Who is Corio coming up against in the penultimate round, Steve?
Yeah, so they've got a fixture against Sydenham Park this weekend. That's up at Keilor Lodge on Saturday afternoon, and then Corio will finish their season at home on Saturday the 20th at Hume Reserve against Altona City. So good luck to Corio in those final 2 games against we've got against the 3rd place and 6th place teams on the table. So both tricky games, and but as you said, I think they've really improved their form and they've pulled themselves away from that danger zone. The shackles are off now and they're playing good football from what I'm hearing as well. So particularly that final round 22 game against Altona City, I'm sure there'll be a bumper crowd down there at what is now, as we know, is a very good facility at Hume Reserve to watch football from.
Yeah, it might be a chance to bid farewell to the season. Now, moving along to Geelong Rangers, who are in State League 2. They've had a stellar second half of the year. I think it's 5 wins on the trot, thereabouts, whatever. They've not only moved off the bottom of the ladder, but they've moved into 10th position. Look, they've got a big game, I think, this weekend. They come up against Western Suburbs. So this is kind of the battle for to avoid that second last spot, if you like. But here's the thing. Rangers, if they win, they could jump up a couple of spots, because Hoppers Crossing are coming up against Upfield, which is despite being deducted 6 points, Upfield are still on top of the competition standings. They are very, very determined to get there. We had, what was his name? Wally Hanna, the president of Upfield, on last night's Football Out West show. That, by the way, is a really interesting interview. Folks, if you want, make sure to tune into that. Go over to the Football Out West show YouTube channel, watch it, because he does talk about the transfer system and all its flaws, if you like. Very, very riveting listening, that, I'll tell you what. But yeah, Upfield come up against Hoppers Crossing. So if Geelong Rangers were to win on Saturday, they could shoot up as high as 8th position, which is quite a remarkable effort from a team that was, like I said, 5 weeks ago, were on the bottom of the ladder, anchored firmly to the bottom of the ladder. How do you see this division panning out over the next couple of weeks, Steve?
Yeah, I don't think a lot's going to change, if I'm perfectly honest, from the table now. I could be proven wrong. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I think it will stay fairly similar. Yeah, Rangers definitely a chance to jump up, given the form that they're in and the fact that they are playing Western Suburbs this week, which is it's a tasty fixture for Rangers to get another 3 points, and then Altona East Phoenix. A bit of a tricky one to finish off at home in round 22.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the state of affairs in the State Leagues competition. By the way, before I forget, Surfside Waves unusually had a game on Sunday. They travelled up to Bendigo City. Yeah. Now, there is a story behind this. They went up to Bendigo, took on Bendigo City, got defeated 8-2. Alex Ketchen scoring 2 goals for the Waves. They've got a very young side. They've got a couple of 15, couple of 16-year-old players, a very, very young side, and hopefully they'll be able to rebuild over the summer months, and they'll come back next year stronger. There'll be less Geelong-based clubs in this competition, we hope, because we hope Barwon will get promoted to State 4. But nonetheless, Surfside Waves, look, they've got a lot going for them, and even though, look, 14 goals for, 105 goals against, 1 win and 19 losses from 20 games doesn't really suggest that. The team went up on the Saturday. Watched Bendigo City have got a co-tenant there at the Epsom Huntley ground or whatever it's called. Yeah, and they were in action on Saturday evening. That's what.
Epsom Soccer Club,
Yeah.
the Scorpions. That would be my old team, Tom.
Is that right? Well, there you go. They must have had first dibs on the Saturday. So the Waves all went up there and they watched and socialised with the Bendigo City team. Had a good old time, and then the following day at 12:30 they had their match played at the same venue. And as I said, 8-2 thumping, but I think they must have had a very, very good time up in Bendigo, which is great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, mate. We're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, we will then be looking at what happened on with the women's and the rest of the women's competitions. There's some really interesting fixtures coming up. Don't go away, folks. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show, episode 94. At Barry Plant Geelong, excellence is our starting point. The award-winning real estate agents and property managers of Barry Plant Geelong's vision is simply to be the most recommended brand in real estate and are dedicated to providing the best real estate experience to every client every time. We have the skills and commitment to making selling and renting out your home a rewarding experience. By implementing well-targeted marketing strategies and tapping into the vast Barry Plant network, we'll cast a wide net to find the right buyer for your property. Or, if you are looking to purchase, we'll work just as hard to help you find the right property to suit your needs. Our sales office is located at 59 Jeringhap Street, right in the heart of Geelong, while our property management office is just around the corner at 116 Ryrie Street. Whatever your requirement, please call us now on 5221 4011 to experience the difference, or visit our website at www.barryplant.com.au/Geelong. Barry Plant Geelong sponsors both the Geelong Soccer Club and the Corio Soccer Club, and is also proud to be the major sponsor of the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. Let's turn our attention to the only women's game that was played in the state leagues. That was played on Sunday, Steve. Geelong Rangers came up against Altona East at a ground that you're very familiar with, Paisley Park. You've commentated many a game there.
I haven't been there for a while, actually. I'm overdue to have a night on the scaffold down there, but might not make it there. And there are only 2 games left in the NPL Victoria. But this is on the other pitch, on the other side of the club rooms. And there's a great goal coming up in this vision by Annie Rowney.
Look at that. Amazing.
25 to 30 yards out there. Lobs the keeper, if you don't mind. And
look at that jubilation.
Worthy of the 3 points because they got the win there, 1-0 in that important fixture. And we'll have to have a look at the ladder if we can get that on the screen, because that makes things nice and interesting and good viewing when we factor that into the points tally at the pointy end of the Women's State League 3 Northwest.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look for that ladder where it is.
It's eluding us at the moment. But
it is eluding us at the moment. I'm not too sure
where
it is.
Maybe I can describe it in lieu of it turning up. But
yeah,
it is. It leaves Geelong Rangers on top. Played 15. Played 15, won 13, 2 draws, no losses at all for the season, 76-4 and 6 against, if you don't mind. So that, of course, is, if you're into your mathematics, plus 70 goal difference, 41 points. Not bad at all. Caroline Springs, George Cross with their president, Mark Sultana, in the comments there. They're a point behind on 40. Not long to go in this competition now then. Very interesting.
Yeah, so look, 3 games to go. Geelong Rangers on top by 1 point. I think it's the top 3 that get promoted. So both Geelong Rangers, Caroline Springs, George Cross, and Avondale as well, pretty much assured of promotion to next year's State 2 competition. So a remarkable effort by the Rangers women, who are in their first season in the state leagues. So they'll be playing up in State 2. Hopefully they won't be joining Lara, because Lara are in and I haven't got that ladder. I do not know why I haven't got that ladder. But Lara are on top of State 2 at the moment, looking very good, undefeated. Can Ryan Horrocks' Invincibles stay invincible? that'll be interesting because they've got a big game, I think, coming up this weekend as well. Let's see who have they coming up against this week.
So Rangers will play Maribyrnong Swifts this week, and we've got Ryan Horrocks in the comments as well has pointed out that the top place will go. Obviously, you get promoted. Second place is a playoff match against the Northern Conference. So, yeah, so second place, not automatic. There's a little bit more work to do, perhaps, if it finishes as it stands for Caroline Springs, George Cross. But anything can happen still.
And a big thank you to Ryan Horrocks, who actually supplied that footage of that wonderful goal of the season by Annie Rowney from Geelong Rangers. Yeah, Lara United, they're away to Ballarat City, who are struggling. That's on Sunday, 3 p.m. at the Ballarat Regional Soccer Facility. So a big game there for Lara United. Same sort of thing. The equation is very simple. Just win. Where they've got three more games to go, win every game, and they are assured of not only promotion, but they're also assured of the title as well. North Geelong, they're sitting in fourth position. They take on third placed Spring Hills. I do have that ladder, I think. It looks like I do. Yes, I do have that ladder. There you go. So they're 7 points behind Spring Hills. Now, it's the top three that do get promoted in this division. North Geelong, unlikely to get promoted to VPLW. But if they were to suddenly have this late season surge, if they beat Spring Hills on the weekend, that will narrow the difference to 4 points with 2 games to go. Spring Hills would effectively need to draw one of their last 2 games and lose the other one, and North Geelong would have to win all of their games. Highly unlikely, but that's another success story. North Geelong in 2022 getting promoted, a double promotion, if you like, from State 3. They bypassed State 2 and obviously got to State 1. So that was an incredible achievement. Mate, let's look at the local leagues now. That's the only thing we've got. Let's look at the women. They played on the Saturday.
Yeah, full round of matches in this. Unlike in the state and NPL competition, we've got those results for you. There was the rivals battled it out on the weekend. Barwon and Surf Coast. Surf Coast 2-1 winners. Elise Cook, who we've had on the show earlier in the season, she scored for Barwon. But Mia McCoach Cripps scored a double to get her side a thrilling win at Road. Geelong 5-3 over Geelong Rangers in a high scorer. A hat-trick for Elizabeth Sarcevic, and goals for Amy Dojcinowski and Isabella Scafidi, while for Rangers, Isabel Ronchner scored, and she scored twice, and there was an own goal. Meanwhile, at Drysdale Recreation Reserve, Drysdale 1, Deakin Ducks 4, goals for Dakota Pearson for Drysdale, and for the Ducks, a double for Alexandria Wolf, Megan Ryan, and Meg Reuters.
Let's have a look at the ladder before we look at the games coming up this weekend. A neck-and-neck battle at the top between Deakin Ducks and old rivals Surf Coast, both on 30 points apiece, with 4 games to go before the end of the season. This is interesting, an interesting battle for first place, obviously. There is a top 4 series that will culminate in a grand final, and dare I say, we would most likely see a Deakin Ducks versus Surf Coast grand final coming up. So that should be interesting, I think, at the end of the day. Who is going to play this weekend? And have a look at that first fixture. Wow. First versus second at Deakin University.
Yeah, the early kickoff, 11:30, is that first versus second. Ducks Gold against Surf Coast. That should be a beauty. At 1 o'clock, there's 2 games. It's Geelong Rangers and Drysdale at Myers Reserve, and Geelong versus Barwon at Stead Park. So, yeah, this division, it just keeps on delivering, actually. There's been a lot of excitement, and despite the number of teams in it being small, it's offering a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move along to the men's competition, and that is also just a 6-team competition. All these games were played on Sunday. Steve, did you want to go through the results?
Yes, Sunday afternoon it was FC Leopold 1. We don't have the scorer. Bell Park 4, A double for Mio Marinovic. Nathan Munoz, who just stepped off a plane from Spain, he managed to, I think he went down pretty easily from what I'm hearing just outside the box, but then he was pretty happy with himself because he converted a nice free kick after that. Bailey Papalado, he scored as well. So a really good win for the All Whites. Down at Pelican Park, it was Armstrong United 5, Breakwater Eagles 1. Goals for Sam Robles, Ben Kelly, Johannes Basher, and James Masterman, and Stephen Puka. We don't have the goal scorer for the Eagles again, unfortunately, while that Surf Coast and Barwon rivalry continued in the men's, and it was a 2-0 win for the boys from Reserve Road down at Banyulwarri. Craig Cameron Smith and Adam Leather, some familiar names on the score sheet there for Barwon.
Now, looking at the ladder, Bell Park Storms back to the top of the competition, but, could be temporary because Leopold does still have a game in hand. So Bell Park there on 17 points from 10 games. Barwon 17 points also from 10 games. Look at the goal difference, identical. But by virtue of the fact that Bell Park has scored more goals, and when you've got Mio Marinovic in your ranks, you're expected to score a hell of a lot more goals. So that's a good result for Bell Park, but they certainly can't rest on their laurels, even though they did defeat FC Leopold. Leopold must have been having a bad day at the office. They are 2 points behind, a far inferior goal difference, but a win will get them to 18 points. Surf Coast making up the top 4. Now, there's a little bit more interest in this competition as far as the top 4, because Breakwater Eagles have got a game in hand, and they're 1 point behind Surf Coast. So, and look at Armstrong United. They've only played 8 games. So a lot of those games in hand are against Armstrong United. Even though Armstrong United won on the weekend, well done to the Pelicans. There's a lot of teams that will be, expecting to win these games. So the makeup of the top 4 in the men's competition certainly isn't solidified by any stretch of the imagination, Steve. Let's have a look at the games coming up this weekend.
Yeah, some good ones coming up this weekend in the men's Division 1. We've got them on the screen there for you now. It all starts on Friday night at the Estuary Reserve, that venue that's got those nice new modular club rooms there. 7 o'clock, we'll see FC Leopold hosting the Breakwater Eagles. Sunday afternoon down at Pelican Park, it's Armstrong United welcoming Barwon, while at the same time, 3 p.m, Surf Coast will host Bell Park at Banyulwarri Reserve. Good luck to all of our local league clubs and players and referees and everyone involved in this weekend. That should be a beauty, and we're not long till finals time. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And not long now before we get our first guest on the show, he has joined us in the green room, and he will be making his way down that tunnel, down that players' race, and coming in to the studio very, very shortly. We're going to take a very, very, very quick break before we speak to Luke Maher from Leisure Networks, and he'll be talking about the All Abilities and the frame football programs that kicked off over the weekend at the Leisure Time Sports Precinct. Folks, don't go away. We've got Luke coming up, and then a little later on, 15-year-old Wonder Kid OSCAR TANIC will also be speaking to us. It's the Geelong Region Soccer Show, proudly brought to you by our major sponsor for 2022, Barry Plant Geelong. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. And yes, the Football Out West Show, our sister program, Steve, of which you and I are a part of, along with our esteemed colleague, Craig Filer. Mate, something big is coming up this weekend. Tell us about it.
Yeah, can you guess what it might be? Well, triple figures. We're going to be raising the bat this weekend for the century, 100 episodes of the Football Out West Show. And what better way to celebrate that than by having a show, not virtually, but in person at down at City Vista at Georgie's on Vista there at Fraser Rise, the home of Caroline Springs George Cross. We've had a live show there previously. I think we've had a couple. I've been there for one of them. It was at the same time as a friendly was taking place, Western United against, was it North Geelong or George Cross outside? And you and Craig have had a show there since. So when we do these live shows, it's always exciting. We've got some amazing guests in the pipeline as well. Can't wait to.
Yes, we can't announce it, but we will be announcing it in the next few days. So stay tuned to all the social media channels, including the Geelong Region Soccer News Facebook page. We will be making those announcements in the coming days. We're talking high caliber guests, folks, high caliber guests, and it's still not yet 100% confirmed. There could be some more guests on the way as well. But yeah, hopefully I've got you all excited. That's happening.
And come down and join us as well.
Yeah.
If you're free on Sunday night and you enjoy the program, you enjoy watching it at home, why don't you come along and spend some time, have a drink, have a meal at Georgie's? And I'm sure that Mark Sultana in the comments will reinforce that you'll have a very, very good time as well. If you haven't been to that venue before, it's definitely worth going to see. And if you have been, it's worth going back to visit again.
Yeah, absolutely. We hope to be simulcasting that onto the Geelong Region Soccer News Facebook page, and it will be a 2-hour extravaganza, a very special 2-hour show with some great guests, and we'll be talking all about football for 2 hours, 120 minutes. Cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. But talking about football, it's time now to bring our first guest on tonight. He's the program coordinator at Leisure Networks, and he's responsible along with Football Victoria for two very, very good, I think, he's a bit fantastic programs. But let's hear about more about these programs for the man himself, Luke Maher. Luke, welcome to the show. Good evening and welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. How are you doing?
I'm well, Tonchi. Steve, I'm blessed to be here tonight. So thanks for inviting me.
Well, thank you for coming on the show, mate. On the weekend, we had two programs, the All Abilities football program and Frame Football as well, that kicked off at the Leisure Time Sports Precinct. Mate, tell us a little bit more about the programs, how it all went, and how can people get involved in it?
Yeah, look, it's certainly a program that has been the All Abilities program has been running for 14 years now. We've struck up a relationship with Foddy and Celine at Footy Victoria, and it's great now that we can have their backing as well. So we've had the All Abilities program run for the first couple of terms. Things are still it's still a little bit peculiar with that post-COVID fog, I suppose you can say, in relation to not everyone's jumping aboard. There's still some I guess, reluctance to jump into programs like this at times. But what we've done this term is that we've got our All Ability session and Frame Football session all at the same time at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning at Cry Leisure Time Centre, as you said, Tonchi.
And Luke, for those people who might not know a lot about Frame Football and how that works, it's a great program. And what can we tell them more if they don't know about that?
Yeah, look, it's been developed more along the lines of for those that need assistance to be able to play a particular sport, and obviously in this case here, it's the great sport of football. So as you can see on the vision there, it just allows some people and the opportunity to be able to play the sport. The inclusive world that we live in now and that I work in, it's great to see people that probably haven't had the opportunity to be able to play any sort of sport are given the opportunity at some form at some level.
Now, what we're seeing there is file footage from a program last year that was run by Western United, and there's Pete Bradley, who was then involved at Western United and Elson as well. And that was in conjunction with Leisure Networks. Now, this program this year is not run with Western United, but it is being run with Football Victoria. And how have you found that collaboration with Football Victoria in that regard? Have the guys from St Kilda Road head office been pretty helpful, and have they managed to sort of maybe cast a wider net as well of potential participants?
We're in constant discussions with the guys from Football Victoria. We share an office with Foddy, so we do see Foddy from time to time.
Sports House, yes.
So we are certainly in communication with them a lot, and developing some programs, not just this term, but for 2023 and beyond. It's something that we pride ourselves on at Leisure Networks, to be able to create programs, inclusive programs for people with disability, to be able to make it sustainable and long term. And our All Abilities football or futsal program has, like I said, has been running for 14 years. The numbers will continue to grow, but the way that we work, it's less about the numbers and more about the program we put out there to be able to be participated in. And I know that Paul and Christy do an amazing job with the All Abilities futsal, and Gordon from Football Victoria is running the frame football side of things.
Excellent.
And
Paul Scoey and Christy Mary from Lara United as well. Or not Lara United, Christy's from Galaxy United, but was involved at Lara. So they do an absolute fantastic job. Big shout out to them. Sorry, Steve.
Absolutely.
And Luke, you must you must love what you do. It must be a very rewarding career that you work in, being involved in these programs. They're great to talk about, great to share the stories of. How did you get involved in this in the first place?
Look, and this might be a bit not right for this show. I've got an AFL background, so
but you've seen the light. It's okay. You've seen the light. We've just had Luke free. As soon as he mentioned that on our show, it looks like he's just
actually pressed the button there. You've got an AFL button on your keyboard that cuts the stream.
I did not touch anything. Like, as soon as he mentioned that dirty word on this program, he's frozen. Hopefully, we'll get him back on. He's having some.
You might have to do a quick reboot. I'm sure it will be able to be resolved.
Yeah. Oh, goodness me. Let's see. Hopefully, he's back on. Oh, there he is. Back on. Luke, we've got you there.
Man, got you now.
Don't mention that. Don't mention that dirty word on this program, because as soon as you mentioned AFL, it just froze. So no, look, just bad internet connection. What can you do? But you were saying You've got an AFL background.
Yeah, I worked with AFL Victoria for 10 plus years, and as rewarding as that was, the 12 months that I've been with Leisure Networks and creating opportunities for people with disability to engage in sport and active recreation, you can't beat it. And yeah, I love getting up every day and coming to work. And a lot of the time when I'm coming to work, it's staying at home. And but the programs out and about, and especially the programs that we have on a Saturday morning at Cry Leisure Time Centre, being the All Abilities futsal and the frame football, they're the opportunities that we want to make sure that are sustainable and long-term programs within our region.
Fantastic. Steve, any more questions for our guest?
I guess, Luke, if people want to know more, they want to be involved in it, maybe not in this particular term, but maybe in the future, what are they best to do, Luke?
Yeah, look, they can certainly jump on the Leisure Networks website. As you can see, there's a couple of flyers there. Any contact through the Leisure Networks website will come back to me. Like I said, we're planning for the future, and the future with Football Victoria and where it looks in our region. We want to start thinking about big picture stuff and maybe having an all abilities or disability competition, senior competition, junior competition within our region. That they're discussions that are certainly ongoing, and planning is certainly started in relation to that.
That's absolutely brilliant news, because that is, look, all jokes aside, I said at the start of the program, this is personally why I think soccer, football, call it what you want, is the best game in the world, because all abilities can play and all levels can play, and it doesn't matter who or what. It's such an inclusive game, and we really do need to tap into it in its simplicity as far as rules are concerned, as I said, apart from the offside rule. But and this is a great
I don't even understand that one, Tonchi.
Oh, I think 99% of football people don't understand that one as well. You just hear them on the terraces everywhere, offside, and it wasn't even offside. But anyway, mate, look, wishing you all the very, very best for this program. And not, as you said, not just this, but the future and the big picture stuff as well. Great to see Leisure Networks doing a fantastic job, as they do every time. And thank you, mate, for coming on the show and telling us a little bit more about this.
Anytime, Jensen. Yeah, happy to keep you posted on what happens in the future.
Absolutely.
Sounds great,
Good
Luke.
on you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jensen.
Good night, Luke. Thanks. Luke Maher, Programs Coordinator from Leisure Networks. And it is, look, personally, I have been involved in seeing and organising some of these all abilities leagues when it first came about. It is, for anyone that has been involved in a truly rewarding experience. And there are people that have coached at all levels and they've got involved in this, and they just, it's just absolutely heartwarming stuff. And the good thing is, particularly about the all abilities, there are a lot of AFL people, and they can't play AFL, unfortunately, but they can play soccer, and they turn up in their Geelong's footy club beanies or their jumpers or whatever the case may be, and they partake in the world game, and it is absolutely fantastic. Steve, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, we're going to have our guest tonight, our next guest, young 15-year-old Wonder Kid, OSCAR TANIC, joining us. Stay around, folks. Oscar's coming up on the other side of the break. Steve, welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, folks. Steve, a couple of weeks ago, the News Limited Herald Sun released a list of about 40 of the most promising under-16 prospects in the junior boys category. Geelong had three players, three youngsters we can look forward to. Noah Skoko, who's currently overseas, looking to forge a professional career, who this year broke into the North Geelong seniors team. A wonderful, wonderful prospect. Another North Geelong product, Zachary Stosic, who is a midfielder, is only, 15, has also played at under 21 level for North Geelong Warriors. And tonight's guest, this young man is a real exciting talent. Started off at Geelong Soccer Club, and he's now at Melbourne Victory. He's also at Geelong Grammar on a football scholarship, and he can tell us a little bit more about all of that. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show, OSCAR TANIC. OSCAR, welcome to the show, and how are you?
I'm good. Yourself?
Thank goodness we need the angel music to play. We've got everything worked out. We've got OSCAR on the show, mate. It's great to hear your voice for more reasons than one after last week's technological issues. But, mate, it's been a meteoric rise as far as your junior career goes. And you're, only 15, turning 16 shortly. Tell us how it all started. How did it all, when did you first pick up a soccer ball and start kicking it around?
It was probably when I was around 6 years old. I started off playing at school for the school, and then I went to Geelong and then was there for around 3 years, and then decided to play NPL and take on a bigger challenge, and then played in NPL since 2017.
Fantastic.
Excellent. And your time at Geelong, let's talk a little bit about that first before we jump into Melbourne Victory, the present. You have some good memories from Geelong, some good friendships that you built there at Geelong Soccer Club. And I think you scored a season haul or something like 40 goals in a season one year as well.
Yeah, it's 40. Yeah, around 40.
And you have some good memories from those times, some good friendships, and you developed your love of football there at Stead Park, no doubt.
Yeah, it was good. Coach Kieran and Gary, they were very supportive of me, and they took me that extra step further. And then in that year of Geelong, I went to Coffs Harbour. So I think that season helped me a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Now, when you were at Geelong, you were playing at the local level here. What did you do to keep yourself motivated, to keep yourself kind of like not getting bored or not getting sort of stagnant? What did you do? Did you do things outside of the normal training that you did at Geelong? Did your dad take you up to Melbourne for specialist coaching or anything like that? And how important was that extra, I don't know, extra training, if you like, to your development?
Most people think, it doesn't help as much, but honestly, the extra work gets you a step further than what you won't do. So having that extra work when others aren't working, it helps you a lot.
And what did you do? What were you involved in? What was that extra work for you?
I'll just usually practice some of the things that I need to work on and not just do stuff that I'm already good at.
Yeah, good point. That's a very, very interesting point. So working on those weaknesses, not so much the strengths. Isn't that interesting, Steve? Because you get, coaches all over having different ways and different strategies. And some will say, focus on your strengths, everything else will come into place. Others say, like exactly what Oscar's saying, focus on those weaknesses and work on getting that, making that become your strength. That's an interesting point. What other pieces of advice would you have for other young kids, younger than yourself, that have got that potential that could move to another level? What would you, as 15-year-old Oscar TANIC, being identified as one of the most exciting prospects in the state, what would you give advice to the kids of Geelong?
I'll just say to listen to the people around you, like your parents, coaches, to anyone that's there to give you feedback and just to help you get that step.
Don't tell me Stets has told you to say that, has he? Your dad?
No.
Steve?
Yeah, and how much of an influence do you get from home? Your dad, Steve, is he someone who's worked with you in the backyard or trying to improve your skills and sharpen your reflexes?
Well, I couldn't hear that. I was mumbling a bit.
Oh, sorry. Just on influences from home, has your father, Steve, been someone who's influenced your junior career a lot?
Yeah, he's just given me so much advice, which has helped me just improve my game, and he's just there for me when I need help, and I'm not either. Say, for example, I'm not performing, give me advice on my game, and then I can use that for my next game.
He doesn't give you a slipper across the ear and say, "Come on, you should do it better." He's not that old school type of a dad, is he, or is he more of a modern?
No, he's not. He's more just more.
Now you've got an older brother who's very talented himself, Jed TANIC. A lot of people in Geelong know. Having a brother like that, where you can, in the background, I'm sure you've over the years spent many hours, against each other and pushing yourself. How much of a focus or how much of an influence has Jed been?
I honestly big influence since he got into like Skillaroos. It just made me think. Like, obviously, I wanted to play there, but when I was at that age, they cut it off. So I was just aiming to get where he was at. So he was like a benchmark for me.
Yeah, it's sad we don't have the Skillaroos program any longer. But what was your experience of watching Jed go through those Skillaroos programs and having any of those SAP programs early in the piece? Can you remember much from that era? I mean, you were a young fella, but how important was that to developing your technical expertise?
I just remember going to his games all the time, just watching him. And like the team back then, it was really, really strong. So they were probably one of the best teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask Oscar is, we know that you're at Geelong Grammar doing your studies and you're travelling up to do training with Victory. How do you juggle the travel, the football training commitments during the week and school? Does it mean that you're basically busy day and night every day of the week?
Yeah, so on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'll stay to school till 8:30.
Wow.
But I'd usually do, because we had school soccer, but it finished, so I'd do school soccer. Then I would eat there, do my homework, and then come home. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays I'll do school soccer and then go to training.
Wow. So you must be feeling pretty tired after those days.
Yeah, it's pretty tiring. Yeah.
Now, the head coach at Grammar is still Vaughan Coveney, the former New Zealand international, who's also the Western United youth coach. Is that right? Is he still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
And what's it like having Vaughan, having a highly credentialed coach like Vaughan, coaching you at Grammar, in addition to all the coaches that you get or the coaching you get at Melbourne Victory?
I think it's pretty similar because coaches at Victory and Vaughan, they all know what they're doing and very experienced coaches. So it's good to have Vaughan on one side and Victory coaches on the other.
Yeah. Vaughan hasn't been trying to poach you for Western United, has he? For the Western United youth team, has he?
Oh, look out.
No, not yet.
Watch what you say. Be diplomatic.
And what about at Victory, Oscar? Have you got any coaches there who are famous players or just coaches that you look up to at Victory that you work under?
My coach now, he's a really good coach. He's supportive of me, which I like. We just have a good connection between us two, so which is really good.
Who's that? Give him a shout out on the show.
Oh, his name's Joaquin.
White King.
Joaquin.
Oh yeah, White King. Yeah.
He's from South America.
Okay.
Not White King, the cleaner.
White King, yeah, the detergent. Yeah. Now, Santino Mamone has asked a question here. A very good question, by the way, Santino. We might have to get you on as a part-time reporter. Steve, he obviously posed the question to you, Steve. Has Oscar trained with the VUC seniors yet? Have you had an opportunity to train under Tony Popovich or any of the youth team squads or anything like that?
No, not yet. I think I'm still a bit too young to train with them.
Yeah. So you're in the the under 16s at the moment, the NPL juniors. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
What's the plan?
How does it feel being the captain of the team, Oscar? That must be a big deal and a big thrill for you.
Yeah, no, it's a good feeling to be the captain. You know, just taking lead of the boys and just being a leader on the pitch and off the pitch. But it's really good and motivates me a lot.
Actually, a question there is, does the Victory give you any, I don't know, leadership guidance or courses or anything like that? Do you do anything extra to sort of just work on your leadership style and your leadership qualities?
No, not really. The coach would just tell me to just rev the boys up in the huddle or something. But he doesn't usually give that advice on leadership. It's more just a thing I need to do.
Yeah. Now, Oscar, you've got a picture of Timmy Cahill in the background there that we can't miss. Who are your influences, your favourite players, or maybe your favourite clubs in world football that you like to watch on telly?
Favourite player is Ronaldo. But one of my favourite players is Neymar. He's a really good player on the ball. I love watching him play. But my favourite team right now, they're not doing very good, but Manchester United.
Oh, it's only one loss.
Whatever. Goodness me, what happened there overnight?
Do you model your game on someone like Neymar, perhaps, Oscar?
I don't do rainbow flicks and that, but
you'll get in trouble with the coach. Someone's saying your favourite player is Mitrovic. I think that's a bit of a wind up.
No, he put on a good show the other night.
He did play well, didn't he? Good to have him back in the Premier League, I think.
Yeah.
Now, Oscar, plans for the next, say, 12 to 18 months or even further down the track, just work your way up through the Melbourne Victory juniors and youth setup, is it? Or have you got plans of doing anything else, going off to Europe to trial or anything like that, like what seems to be the trend with a lot of your Geelong youngsters? What are your plans over the next few years?
I would love to go to Europe. Hopefully planning on going there end of year. But I'll say next year just to stay at Victory and just keep going through the process.
Brilliant. Mate, we're thank you for joining us. We really, really appreciate it. And really enjoyed listening to your words of advice to other junior players around the region who might be looking up to you and hoping one day they can do what you have done and go even further. So thank you so much, and wishing your brother Jed and your dad Steve Stets all the very, very best, because it is an incredible, incredible sacrifice, constantly driving yourself, your brother up to Melbourne and doing so, 4 or 5 times a week. So well done to the whole TANIC family.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for your time, Oscar, and all the best with your career.
Yeah, thank you.
Good on you. OSCAR TANIC, a lovely, lovely young man, very well spoken, and he really held himself well tonight. Mate, that was a great interview. What'd you take out of that?
Look, I think it might be the same as what you'll say as well. It's the advice for the youngsters.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that brings us to the end of the show tonight. It has been a wonderful, wonderful show. What I'll do is I'll actually put up that those flyers with the All Abilities futsal program and the frame football program. So if anyone is interested, particularly the All Abilities, because that lasts another, I think it's going for 8 sessions. So it's got another 7 sessions to go. If you do want to register, go on the Leisure Network's website, go on their Leisure Network's Facebook page. You can contact them that way. Or there's the website, https://form.jotform.com/FFV/AA-Geelong. Okay, it's right there. I'll leave that up for a little bit longer. Make sure that you, if you are interested, you do get in touch with Luke Ma there from Leisure Networks. An absolutely fantastic program. As I said, certainly worth mentioning in every sense of the word. Well, once again, a big, big shout out and a big thank you to our new major sponsor, Barry Plant Geelong. We're streaming live every Monday now from 8 p.m. and we will be doing so right through until early October. Thank you to Barry Plant. We will be going through basically 30 episodes this year. This was our 21st episode of the year. So normally we'd be looking at finishing in 3 or 4 weeks' time, but thank you to that major sponsorship. We will be going a little bit further. Now, if your club wants to be featured, or a team, could be a team within a club, could be a junior team that's had a phenomenal year this year, get in touch with us and sponsor our Club in Focus segment. Contact Steve or myself, or you can contact us at communitysportsmedia@gmail.com. And we'll be able to get you the details of what is needed for your club to sponsor a Club in Focus segment, and we can feature your team. Could be a junior team, as we said. Could be some photos, some footage of the team that's played this year, and we will talk and interview either the coach, maybe the president of the club, or some of the members of your team. So particularly when the season finishes, we'll have that opportunity to do so. Steve, as I said, that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you, mate, for your contribution tonight.
Thanks for your time. Just looking forward to another big weekend coming up next weekend. So thanks again, mate. And also, that big show next Sunday night.
Yeah, absolutely. And for all of you first-time viewers of the show tonight, thank you for tuning in. And to all the regular viewers as well, we hope that you'll be joining us again next Monday night here at the Geelong Region Soccer Show from 8 p.m. onwards. Good night.
Good night.